How's it going, everybody? Daniel again. Man, I really should cut that part of my hair. I just look at that and I'm like, it's all frayed and stuff. Ah, there goes my self-conscious. Okay, so this start. I'm again trying to be real. What you call it? Consistent. So we're gonna be talking about magical agents. Is there such a thing as a magical agent? So the concept for me came out of this idea that and this was on my other video of Hover Revolves of Gamers. I was kind of curious about the thought of is there such a thing as a magical agent? Because it to me it always apart from diversity roles, there's always this notion that the agent just stands out in some phenotypical way, this appearance way. And it was just like, of course, they do it with blacks. And I think it's ultimately we don't really understand genuine diversity, or even we have that conflict with conformity. So I wonder to myself, because you see some in some of these movies, you see Asians, and this Asian is particularly distinct, whether they have like a garb or something. Even and I didn't notice like when I first watched the Scott Pilgrim, um, it was kind of, and I think that's it was what it was hinting at. It was like he had a the premise is that he just got over a breakup or something like that. He's been taking it pretty hard, and now he's kind of rebounding with this Chinese high school, and he was like basically like 20 something, 24 or something, and they're like, dude, that's not okay, um and they just saying like, oh, she's Chinese, like they make a big deal about her race, and it's just like, she happens to be a ninja, and you read the comics, I believe her father's something like that, something like some sort of assassin of some sorts. um and so it's just kind of surprising, like, that they play on this idea of the Asian, the magical Asian, because it's like, to me, it's like they don't really know how to handle or even take the reality of an Asian person, and it takes. I still want to see it, crazy rich Asians or something like that. I still want to see that because I find it very interesting, even the classism among the Asian race, or rather the differences of the so-called fancy Asians, versus the jungle ones. But I think it's more so talking about the fancy Asians and the classism thereof within that portion. But that's humanity. We like to make familiar groups and try to make distinctions. I'm trying to be real quick because I have this order coming up. So it kind of makes me wonder: can we view people? Can we view, especially Asians? Can we have diversity that's more than just a physical melding of people? Could you would you and this is apart from the stereotypes of white American goes to Japan and finds love interest in Japan, like out of I don't know, the many people in Japan, he happens to find love interest. I've seen it in Hank Hill, I mean King of the Hill. um don't think I've seen it from iCarly. I've seen it from a bunch of other shows, but those though, Lost in Translation is not one of those. It's actually, he's a married man. He switched, which is another thing I did here, is that when you do come to Japan, make sure your relationships are locked down. I think I heard that from Kiro Couch, but it's because it's like they will be relationships will be tested. So just in America, the perspective there, and I wonder if that's just the stereotypes that we've harbored, and haven't necessarily dealt with, or have come to terms with, that the Asian, and if I'm right, I believe Bruce Lee was half. He was half American, half Asian. That's but he had got love from place parts in China and I believe Hong Kong, because of the highly racist tone in America, where they accepted Americans from who adopt the Chinese culture, the parts of Chinese culture in their kung fu, but they didn't really accept the originators of that culture, which is the Chinese, I like to think. And so I wonder if we've ever made any advances. I think that's a question I want to leave. Have we made advances to correcting this stereotype? And if we have, especially from an American, Asian American context, what are those answers? What are those responses? And again, I still want to watch that because it seems very interesting how classism is enacted, and the plot and story stuff like that. That seems pretty interesting too. All right, I know. Sorry, kind of going really fast, but those are my thoughts. And we are indeed human, but we are indeed distinct. Not so much in terms of like our capabilities and stuff, but we're distinct from the cultures, the nationality, the religions, and these are dividers. Like if we didn't have those things, we'd have something else to divide over. So it's just we like to see things that are familiar and things to be boxed in categories. So it's like we like to pick things out and see what is it. How do I define it? And we also like to just simply take it in, for what it is, for what it's worth. So that's not really a particular race kind of thing. That's just a human thing. You have a bunch of group of people, a majority versus a minority, that they're gonna do bully tactics because it's easier. The brain searches for easier things. It tries to be as efficient as possible. All right, sorry. That's all I got.